You're listening to Search the Scriptures Daily, a program in which we encourage everyone who desires to know God's truth to look to God's Word for all that is essential for salvation and living one's life in a way that is pleasing to Him. In this first segment of our program, we are in our second week of going through a new series featuring Dave Hunt's book, Seeking and Finding God. Now, it's hardly an imposing book of about 150 pages, but its content is life-transforming. Now, Dave, last week you gave our audience kind of an overview of what the book was about and why you wrote it. But would you just again tell our listeners, our viewers, why you wrote the book?
Well, Tom, I am given the privilege by the Lord to meet many people one-on-one, many of them in airplanes. And the Lord amazingly leads me to people who are generally, not always, when they're not interested, that makes the other ones all the more amazing. But generally, those who are searching, really searching and thinking. And so I have the opportunity to present the gospel to them, to reason with them, as we're told to do, to give them a reason. And those who show, when it comes time to part, a real interest. I mean, they've been showing the interest, but if that continues, and I ask them, I don't just send something to them. I don't say, give me your address, I'll send you something. No. I say, one of my books is called Seeking and Finding God. Would that be of interest to you? Very often they say, oh, yes. Well, I'll be happy to send it to you. Okay, here's my address. So I really wrote it because I didn't know of anything that was proper follow-up. Mm-hmm. We have that sort of thing, The Reason Why, for example, a tract written 100 years ago, I guess. We have a lot of things from the past, but I don't know of anything that really deals with the way people think today. Mm-hmm. So I wrote this. Hopefully it will lead people to Christ, but it would be a tool for those of you out there listening to us. I mean, I would recommend you read it. Every Christian ought to read it. Give you some ideas how to reason with people. Yeah. And I think it would be very helpful to give to others if the opportunity arises.
And at the very least, Dave, if those who enjoy listening to Search the Scriptures Daily, sometimes it can be helpful to have the book that we're going through. And we do that quite often. We take some of your books and go through them chapter by chapter. And so to have the book, they can just follow along. So Gary, later in the program, will explain how they can obtain a copy, if they wish, a copy of the book, Seeking and Finding God. Now, Dave, the first chapter is an interesting title, The Necessity of Certainty. Mm. Now, we went over that a little bit last week, but just that phrase, what do you mean, the necessity of certainty?
Well, Tom, we can't always have certainty. If you're going to make an investment, this looks like a good piece of property here, let's buy that one. Well, it may turn out to not be a good piece after all. You better read the CC&Rs, what are the conditions, covenants, restrictions, and so forth, or what is the zoning. There are many things. You better be certain as you can be, before you jump in and do something.
Sure. Now, just everyday purchases, right. Especially if they're a little spendy, a car, a refrigerator. You want to make sure you're checking out maybe Consumer Reports to see that you're getting something of value.
Mm-hmm. But there's one thing about which you better be certain. I mean, Tom, I know you like to play golf, never get the chance, but it's
5 kids. I switched to fishing, Dave.
Right. The difference. I like golf. I played a bit of golf in the early days, but I preferred tennis because if you hit a bad shot off into the rough or behind a tree or something in golf, that's going to cost you. But if you hit a bad shot in tennis, you run fast enough, you can recover maybe and get this thing going again. But you can't do that when you die. It's appointed unto man once to die, and after this the judgment. Mm-hmm. So I think you better be pretty clear about this. You can't take a chance.
What lies beyond? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can't take a chance. Where are you going to end up when you die? And I don't think we mentioned it last week. Did we? Pascal's wager. Pascal, if you know who he was, a brilliant philosopher, but he was a Christian, and he said, look, he's arguing with an atheist. If I'm wrong in following God all my life, and you're right, when I die, I'm dead. I haven't really lost anything. I was happy during my life anyway. I love to serve the Lord, and if you think that was an illusion, okay. But if you are wrong, and you say, oh, when I'm dead, and you're not dead because the Bible is true, after death, the judgment. Wow, you have lost everything. Mm-hmm. And so Pascal reasoned, well, I think that's a bad wager to make. I just wouldn't go for that kind of a deal. You better make sure. Mm-hmm. Look before you leap, in other words.
Right. So you give three opposing views. Again, talking about the necessity of certainty, the idea that I can really be certain what's going to take place after I die. Mm-hmm. But there are three opposing views. One you just mentioned, that, hey, when you die, that's it. You know, they just coffin closes, you're in the ground, and it's all over. Nothing, period. Mm-hmm. And then there's a view that says death and unconditional acceptance is the next step in the progression of our existence. It's a spiritual advancement. That's what some people think. We're going to talk about that. But also, a third point is death is followed by physical rebirth that improves one's life through a continuous cycle of deaths and rebirths. So these are ideas that people have. Right. And we're going to look into the certainty. Can you be certain that's the way it is? Mm-hmm. But let's pick up with, again, we mentioned it, we went over it a bit last week, but let's pick up with death ends it all, period. Why isn't that the case, Dave?
Well, again, Tom, I can reason this very quickly with someone sitting next to me on an airplane. Materialism is dead. In other words, materialism, an atheist is a materialist.
Right. In other words, nothing exists but matter.
Right.
That's all.
Big Bang, energy, they don't know where the energy came from. Mm-hmm. They don't know what energy is. But nevertheless, that's all they have. So you're an atheist. You've got nothing else. So you are stuck with matter. Well, then your body is everything. Mm-hmm. That's all there is to you, just a body. So I'm thinking of Francis Crick, who co-discoverer of the language of the DNA. And he said, your hopes and dreams and ambitions and your marriage and your education and all, that's just an illusion of your genes. You're just a bag of molecules. And he called that book The Astonishing Hypothesis. You wonder, why does he call it astonishing? Because nobody really believes this. And Richard Dawkins, for example, a leading atheist, will say, well, this is counterintuitive, but still, these are the facts and so forth. So materialism, that is falling by the wayside.
For more information about the Berean call us toll-free at our order number or visit our website